in.
Shit.
Yeah.
Got Nathan tomorrow night.
Yeah.
I'll have to be on my phone tomorrow night listening in. Hopefully it'll work. I'll be over at Mum and Dad, so yeah, I'll have to listen if I'm still up.
Is Matrix speaking?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
See, mate. I can't even hear you, man. What's going on? I can see you.
He is a little bit quiet, but I could hear him.
Sometimes it's super quiet, other
shit.
times it's not. I can turn my volume up if you want.
Wow, you're coming in real choppy for me. I'm gonna out and come back. I couldn't even hear you, but I saw you lining up, and then when I turned you up, it was just all choppy.
Oh, right.
That's a little better, but you're still pretty quiet.
I had trouble with my mic earlier. For some reason, it just turned itself off completely. Didn't even register the Discord had my mic connected. So I spent about 40 minutes trying to work out what was wrong. Turned it off, unplugged it, reset it. I've run out of things to do, and now it's quiet. So that's a good thing. It means I'm not destroying someone's ears.
Oh, sorry if I was talking over you, man, because I didn't even hear you.
No, I've
No,
just
that
been
didn't happen.
listening in.
It makes you wonder though, doesn't it, with the North Pole? Like Big Roots raised a good point, because people live near there. Like, it's not that far away. It's not like Antarctica. It's not like they travel fucking months to find a place, years even, on new land. It was like right there. It's just a hop, skip, and a jump. They fucking get in the boat and go there and see what the fuck is there. Right there.
People probably have, but I don't think we can go there anymore, can we?
So that's what I'm saying. I might even later on, I might have a look into some of the recorded history of it, like what they consider to be actual history of navigation within that region.
Yep.
And the stories that versus what they aren't willing to accept as being true, like 4 continents and mysterious lands with mysterious people and mountains of magnetic mountain and whirlpools and all that. They don't accept all that as being history, right? That's not presented to us as being, okay, if it is, then where the fuck did it go? Is it still there? What's going on, man? You call them just tall tales?
We're told a lot of things are tall tales about sea monsters and whatever else, but when you see some of the shit they show you down in the ocean that does exist, it surprised me, yeah. Just do everything. Yeah. I believe our history's been changed.
100%. I think it's been bastardized to the point where we can't even tell shit from clay.
Yep.
It's interesting to see the movie Meg. I'd never seen it before. I've seen it just recently. Yeah, with the whole fucking, the density layer happening there. Like creatures that exist underneath a certain depth. Like that we think it's that's the bottom, man, but it keeps going.
Yeah.
100%. There's shit that lives down there that won't come out of that density layer.
Yeah,
it's happy down there. So
We
there could
can't
be
go down
shit
there.
like
We
that.
can't even send shit down there.
Yeah.
So much
If you
pressure
thought
under
if
the
some of
ocean.
the ocean, right? Yeah. Some of the ocean is like that, then there could be shit that lives down there that does occasionally maybe venture further than it really is used to and encounters ships and things, or submarines. Maybe. Yeah, NASA has all like camps. They have a camp like that's under the ocean. They send people training for training. They say anyway, it's training camp. Fucking like
I didn't know that
domes
one.
and shit. Yeah, Joe Rogan interviewed an astronaut, and he was like showing pictures and everything, like this fucking facility that NASA has in the ocean. They send people for training. Yeah, he's talking about how he encountered this huge ass freaking, what was it? It was some sort of fish or shark or something, but it wasn't dangerous. But just the sight of it, and this ran in and it's so big, and it was just fucking in his pants, basically underwater. Yeah. They have these domes and shit. Like, they're there. See if I can find the clip.
Sorry, I dropped out for a second there.
Oh shit! I think my elderly neighbour's just had a heart attack. Bless her. Hope she's all right.
What, you tell her it's flat and stationary?
Oh god! Definitely didn't do that. Mate, she's been ill since. In fact, I'm not even going to say what. Since when? I'm sure you can imagine what I was about to say.
I'll have
Yeah,
two
same
guesses,
as
and I
my
bet
mum.
the first one's right.
Same as my mum, yeah. My mum ended up with, they thought it was a heart problem. So they were doing all this testing for like 6 months, but couldn't find anything wrong. Just about to give up. And then they did some other scan and found out that it was lung cancer near her heart. So they chopped it out and it's back again straight away. So now they're waiting for it to grow to decide what to do.
That's the same with my mum. She was diagnosed with bladder cancer 6 months after the fact, and we cleared it with the basically she did a keto diet, and she got a scan and they said she was completely cancer free. But she did a diet, mate, she did it proper, no carbs, no sugar, intermittent fasting. She was on black seed oil, THC oil. We did the works with her. But after she was cleared, she went back to her old lifestyle, and within 6 months, well, about 8 months, it was back. It's just really weird, isn't it?
Yeah, no, my mum won't do any of that stuff though. She's just waiting for the doctors. And I said to her, listen, why don't you fast? Why don't you do a few of these things that, I don't know if it'll work, so I'll just wait for the doctor. I said, yeah, but it doesn't hurt doing it while you wait. Yeah, do something while you wait. You never know. Nah, won't do it. But anyway,
Yeah, it's frustrating. Very frustrating.
Years and years ago, well before bloody 2019, my great uncle was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and he was into what was it, colloidal silver, and what was it, apricot seeds, I think it was. And apparently, there's is it arsenic or cyanide or something in apricot seeds inside them, and for some reason
Right.
it attacks cancer cells. And the doctors gave him, they turned around and said, mate, you've got about 3.5 months to live. Go and sort your will out, get
Enough
everything
for us to
done.
live.
8 years later, the old bastard was still going.
Yeah, mate, those apricot seeds. I read a book. There's a guy called the Kung Fu Lawyer on Instagram. He did a speech at one event that I went to because he cured himself, and he basically put it all down to the apricot seeds. Yeah, he's got a book called the Kung Fu Lawyer. If you type Kung Fu Lawyer in, you can read his book of how he did it. In fact, I'd argue there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yep, 100%.
Still doesn't make it easy though.
I think looking at most people, stress is a big factor in most of the stuff that's diagnosed. Because you look at people that have got a very low stress level, they never seem to ever get sick. And look at those that stress to the shit house, something's always going wrong with them.
It's cortisol in the body.
I don't know, I don't think it's like when it comes to proteins and stuff and, releasing proteins, I think that comes down to the epigenetic markers and stuff, like literally your terrain. I think you can pick up these markers off your parents. And then you may or may not produce those proteins depending on the environment. I think it's all very circumstantial on the terrain. I feel like we're dancing on the edge of a subject we shouldn't really be talking about with the YouTube bot in here. Don't want to get a strike on the channel, do we, for talking about something too powerful?
Yeah, natural healing comes under naughty things. We better not talk about that. All right, we got any ball tards in here?
You're funny, bro.
I'd say Ben might be. I could be wrong.
Or no, I'm in between. You know, I'm investigating like a detective.
How's your investigations going? Were you talking to Roots before?
Yeah, just like 30 minutes ago.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, yeah. I've been looking into like you know, some of the history and the some experiments and stuff like that. You know, I've been on True Earth Wiki a lot.
So, what does your own instincts tell you when you walk outside? Do you feel motion?
No, I do not, sir.
Do you see curvature?
No.
Interesting.
Yep. Didn't Einstein say that himself? Didn't he say everything on Earth appears to work in a way as if it's a stationary plane? I think he said that in
Something.
context of the Michelson-Morley experiment or like that.
Words to those effects, yeah. The Earth is always treated in a state of rest, I think is the exact quote. Which is a contradiction to the claim of Coriolis.
Who's Coriolis? What is Coriolis?
Coriolis is just basically the word we use for how kinetic energy is affected by two reference frames. So if you imagine a merry-go-round and you're on the merry-go-round and you throw something out to somebody out standing on the ground, there'll be an apparent deflection when you throw that straight. It's going to deviate from the appearance of the observer who's not on the merry-go-round. So this Coriolis effect is a real effect, but they claim that we have this in the atmosphere. So we have a rotating and a non-rotating reference frame in the atmosphere, but we don't experience any of that. You know, if the Earth is treated and the atmosphere is treated as, I mean, if you know anything about flight manuals and aircraft, that they in all the manuals it says the atmosphere is treated as no rotating, and then in science the Earth is treated as at rest. So there is no motion that can be detected, although they do claim there is a Coriolis effect.
Yeah, but then they contradict themselves on top of that, and then they state that there is no Coriolis effect when objects leave the ground because everything's caught in the atmosphere. So they claim
Well,
both
it depends
at
on who
once.
you're talking to.
It's happening and
Yeah.
not happening.
Yeah, it depends on which
I'll say
global
it
we've
in the
got in
same-
the house.
Yeah, but you'll hear it in the same conversation. No, there's a Coriolis effect that does this and this and this to bullets, and you say, well, what about planes? No, they're caught in the atmosphere.
So Ben, if there was a Coriolis effect, that would mean there'd be a rotating and a non-rotating reference frame within the atmosphere. So, you know, we would expect to see planes, airplanes, hot air balloons deviate due to the rotation of the Earth. And even if it's really, really high, you know, we should expect to see this with high altitude planes or high altitude balloons. We just don't see that deviation. We don't experience any kind of rotating reference frame at all.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, you said something about the arguments of these physicists and stuff to reduce into sophistry or vagueness. Can you explain a little more what you mean by that?
Wakeness, did you say?
Vagueness.
Fakeness.
Vague.
Oh, vague.
Yep.
Well, yeah, my spin is that they use compartmentalization for that. So, for example, relativity, they'll try and apply relativity to everything that's larger scale. So they'll basically say, okay, there's no consistency in nature. If something is true, then it should be evident at all levels, I believe. But what they're trying to get us to believe is that no, actually, with relative size or relative motion, there are situations where you're unable to tell the difference. And while there are small and local situations where it becomes harder to tell the difference, like relative motion, for example, I believe it's a lie to say that, okay, there's no way to determine or, to be able to know, because I believe science is a way of proving causation. So they've basically tried to undo this foundational understanding of natural science and replace it with theoretical science, i.e. relativity. So now they can make up all sorts of ideas and just say, oh, well, because it's so vast or so big, or you know what I mean? There's always an excuse why they can break the laws of nature with theoretical science. And that's a belief system. Everything's a belief at that point.
Yeah. Well, that's personally my own biggest issue, is the worldview. It's the whole worldview that ties into like philosophical and spiritual implications. Because basically it's occult. Basically it's hermetic, it's occult, it's esoteric. And that's opposite to my worldview. So that's why you see that the globe Earth model fits into, which then is a big problem. Because as you say, right, it ties into this whole thing. Well, everything is not as it seems, and then actually all that is level. Well, actually it's not level, and it's flat, but it's also not flat, and it's all relative to this and that. And then we go into quantum, and things just pop into existence out of nothing, and it's all just a big illusion. That's personally, for me, that's bullshit, and so I don't believe in that. You know what I mean? So.
You only have to just go out into nature and just sit down for a while and just look around, walk around. It's not what they're telling us, man. It's not a spinning ball. You won't go out in nature and find it, what they're talking about. They're showing you. You won't find it.
Yeah, apologies, Ben. I did miss your last comment as well.
No worries. Yeah, I thought there was just no response to that. Yeah.
Do you want to catch me up? Sorry, I don't know if you want to just quickly say it again in a shorter sentence.
Oh yeah, no, I was just saying that personally for me, like the worldview collides because the globe Earth model ties into the whole worldview, which just says everything is an illusion, everything is like relative, and goes back to something which is occult or hermetic, which goes against my personal worldview, right? So for me, it's a big worldview, philosophy, or spiritual problem too, right? Because it's not like the globe Earth itself doesn't have philosophical or spiritual implications. That's all I was saying.
Oh yeah, well said. Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is all about worship of the sun, in my opinion. Heliocentrism is putting Helios, which is the sun, at the center of everything. And this idea came about. When this idea came about, the sun was the center of mass. Now they've changed that. A lot of the model doesn't work. There isn't enough matter in the whole universe, to have your heliocentric universe. But I believe this is ultimately about sun worship, and they're replacing, our idea of a creator or the Most High with the sun. And while the sun has always been respected, we had all the ancient cosmologies treated the sun as, God's son. It was the most cherished thing that mankind had. But I just think they've distorted it, and they've created now a cosmology. They've merged this paganistic sort of ideology in with science and created now a god, really, that a sun god that replaces the Most High. And I think that's what this is all about: worship of the sun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see. I see I see how you can make that connection to pagan worship too. Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong, and I personally believe this is the best way to be. There's nothing wrong with just being empirical and just saying, what our senses and our systems to be able to detect vestibular system, etc. These things where we can rely on these things in every situation. Why do we now have to start, questioning our senses, our understanding of the natural world? Why? Do you know what I mean? What for metaphysics? I'm sorry, but I'm going to need some evidence before I'm going to go into that thought experiment. And I know we all started there, but to become conscious of it, now it's your choice, isn't it?
Can you repeat that last point where you said, "Do you understand?" Like, can you repeat the last thing you said? The last point. Where did we start?
I can't remember what I said. I was saying it's a conscious, when you become conscious of the fact that all of this is metaphysics, then it's a choice, isn't it? So you can't blame anyone for not, you know what I mean? Like, you can't blame anyone, but once they're aware of these facts, that actually, all of the evidence, so-called evidence that they have is all belief, and actually it can't be verified in reality. Once you're aware of that, then it's a choice. You either choose to, have a belief. It's like a new version of a religion, isn't it? You either choose to join the heliocentric religion by choice now, because you're now conscious that it is a belief, or you decide to step back and say, well, I'm just going to go with what I know to be true, knowledge, what can be demonstrated. And I think you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong if you stick with natural law, natural order, natural science, causation. We can prove quite a lot. We can prove that there's no curvature, there's no motion. We can just prove to you, well, I say prove, but we can demonstrate logically that space is a violation of all the laws of science. Well, certain laws of science to do with gas laws, entropy, energy. There's no way you could have an open system next to a vacuum without some sort of containment for the gas. In fact, you can't even have a gas pressure without a volume, and you can't have a volume without containment.
Oh, and then they say, well, the containment is like the atmosphere, right? The containment is like the, you know, like the atmosphere, whatever, right?
The gas containing itself. The problem is we don't have any examples of gas containing itself. We know how gas behaves. As soon as you get a pressurized system, and then as soon as you it's like a can, isn't it? If you open that, there's a violent movement from pressure to low pressure, and there isn't any gas that doesn't do that. You know, these laws of science, or gas laws, are consistent, and we are supposed to be able to build a foundation off this knowledge. Yet what they're telling us contradicts everything we know about the gas laws and entropy and energy. So what kind of state is that going to leave you in if you genuinely believe this stuff, but it goes against all of what is empirically provable? I'd say you're fucked. You know, no offense, but you can't know this. You can't know this with knowledge. You can only believe it. But you can know with knowledge. You can't have a gas pressure without a volume, and you can't have a volume without containment. You can know that to be true, empirically. It's even in the equation. PV equals nRT. The V is the volume. But you can only have a volume, a set volume. You know, we have a PSI. If we've got a PSI, that means we have a volume. Can't have a volume without containment. And gas can't contain itself. And even if you wanted to invoke gravity, I'll help you out here. The next thing you might say could be gravity. Well, gravity, there's no experiment you can do where gravity can contain gas. You know, gravity is not a force. And if you do want to pretend it is, then that force of mass attracting mass is not what we see with gas. Gas expands in all directions. It doesn't you don't see balls of gas in cans of propane or whatever gas you've got contained in a container. You don't see them ball up. They're bouncing off the edges, creating that pressure. So you can't make sense of the heliocentric model unless you invoke certain relativistic ideology, which is metaphysics.
Interesting. Yeah, I'll need to think about that more. Yeah.
Yeah, theoretical physics, right? Because, like, hey, I think that this thing that I am experiencing is happening or is due to something that I'm not experiencing happening, and I can't experience happening and never will experience happening. I can't present it to you as happening, except to assert that what we are experiencing is due to this other thing. I can't prove.
What a head fuck. You know what I thought about the other day? If gravity was the container, then shouldn't the container be affected by gravitational waves? And, you know, and they get the electrical storms, solar waves and stuff. Wouldn't all this affect the container if gravity was the container? Gravity is subject to force, masses, and and if they're changed by, gravitational waves, solar waves, etc., then you would experience a change in the volume or the psi. I mean, that's what that's what I would assume if gravity's the container.
Correct. So that means at night time, you know how every now and then you've got the sun and the moon close by? When you're on the opposite side, that means there'd be extremely low pressure and all sorts of other weird shit happening, zero tides. There'd be all sorts of mental stuff going on.
I didn't even think about when the sun and the moon are both above the horizon on one side, how that would affect. But yeah, like, wow.
If they're
Exactly.
if they're claiming gravity and gravitational force, good luck to yous.
Yeah. Instead, we see the Earth at rest, as perfectly still, calm. Reminds me of a contained environment. And how the hell? This is for Matt. How the hell is it, Matt? Sorry, no. Ben, sorry, yeah. How the hell do you get a pressure gradient without a container? There is no way you can have a pressure gradient without something for the gas to press on. Now, mass attracting mass isn't the same as a container, because mass attracting mass will be pulling the gas in one direction. So it wouldn't act the same as a container. We wouldn't have the gas particles going in all directions like we see in the atmosphere. There's every bit of gas at every altitude, but there is a rest gradient. That's only possible in a container.
If it's mass attracting mass, you wouldn't be able to do this observation anywhere near a mountain. You'd have to be out in the middle of a flat plain with absolutely nothing around, not even yourself, because mass attracting mass, it would pull to the side of the container and mess all your shit up.
Yeah, right, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, now it becomes fun, doesn't it? You start realizing, hang on a minute, mass attracting mass. No more plumb bobs because they're all spinning out, not doing the right thing.
I mean, just like snowflakes being so low density, shouldn't they be attracted to big buildings? Because relativistically, that's a huge mass compared to a snowflake. So shouldn't all the snow be landing on tall buildings? Or at least attracted to the sides of the buildings as they fall?
Correct, yes.
Dude, the whole cosmology is a contradiction. I mean, they say that, right? So that hydrogen atoms, right, have a propensity to want to repel away from each other when there's enough of them in an area. At the center of it will be this massive amount of pressure suddenly forming to the point that it can fuse these things together. So now it's pushing them together. These things that naturally don't want to be together, right, somehow form this massive body, which at the center of there's massive amounts of pressure. To them wanting to be together? No, they're still not wanting to be together. So what is it about a whole area, big area of them, that suddenly they're getting pushed together? When those particles naturally don't want to be together. I don't get it.
Liking that story to a night out at the pub.
Yeah. Good one.
You wake up in the morning and you're like, shit, I just don't want to be. We can't be together. But I love you.
My mind's gone blank. What would a glober say now? What would an anti-flat earther say to what T-Dub just said?
Oh, nuh-uh. Nuh-uh. Gravity.
You're wrong.
Refraction of gravity.
Refraction.
Refraction of gravity. You don't understand.
I think you got that bang on.
The funny part is he was in here probably 15 minutes ago. Stuck his head in, looked down the list and went, shit, too many angry Aussies in here, I'm out.
Who was that?
Mackie, he stuck his head in for about 10 seconds. I'd say he had enough time to look down the list and go, I don't want to deal with this shit, I'm out of here.
I usually look down the list before I join and see if he's in here and go, I'll see who's in the other room.
Yeah, I hardly ever come across here because there's too many that just annoy me. It's like, look, guys, just be honest. Instead of being friggin' weasels.
Yeah, I had to restrain myself yesterday talking to Eggshells. I got to the point where I was like, listen, this is going to turn into an argument. Let's just leave it at that. Because I caught him being so disingenuous, moving the goalpost, trying to compartmentalize perspective from atmospheric conditions. And it was just so slippery. I just couldn't even deal with it.
Bullshit, though. Like, he's different to Mackie, yeah? Mackie just straight out lies, but I'm not convinced at the moment that Eggshells just lies purposely. I think he's just, unless he is just completely being slimy, but most of the time I get the feeling that he just believes his own bullshit and he just has that cog dis and can't get past it.
He's so
but if I said to you,
sophistry that he doesn't know where he is half the time. That's what I think his problem is. He's trying to overdo it, and he's confusing himself.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, because what kind of intelligent person who can fully explain perspective as an isolated idea, then he can fully explain all of the atmospheric conditions and agree with the things that can make things disappear bottom up. And then proceed to say, well, if we were just talking about perspective, then we would expect to see the sun and you can't explain this. And it's like, you've just explained that you understand that there are more than perspective at play when we're talking about observations through the atmosphere. And now you want to go, okay, if we just go back to isolating perspective, that's not what we see. You should expect to see this. And it's like, well, now I'm going to have to go back through the atmospheric conditions and ask you, have you taken these into account when you're taking your perspective into account? Oh, well, I'm not taking atmospheric conditions into account. Is that genuine? Because I'm smart enough to understand that you need to take it into account.
No, it's not. That's where I was sort of thinking maybe it was cog dis, because he even went through that list of mine and said, yep, it's got to do with your angle you're viewing at. I agree. Yep, I agree. It all converges at the ground level. But then 10 minutes later, I hear him talking to Scott Mackie, and he's talking about how this can't happen on a flat surface again. And I'm like, didn't we just get an agreement of this? So, yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah. Sometimes I do find it hard that these people don't really believe in Scott Mackie, yeah? How do you just keep coming in here day in, day out and just trying to be dishonest? I mean, they know they're not getting anywhere. I don't know.
He's a closet flat earther, I'm telling you. I reckon I've got this covered.
Yeah.
I thought that for a while, but I think that less now. I don't know. If he is, he's taking a long time to come out the closet.
He said one night on here that if it wasn't for his friends and family, that he would be, FE. He's concerned that his marriage will get broken up or something.
Yeah, you've got to remember that as well. You know, I've got a brother who basically said to me, I know, Earth it can't be demonstrated to be curving, and I know Earth can't demonstrate it to be moving, and I know space can't be justified without NASA pictures. He said, but I choose to believe it. And it took me a while to figure that out, that it was more of a social thing for him. So maybe it's something like that.
Yeah, there's quite a few of them. Like, there's even people that have dropped in here that are full-blown flat earthers, but they do not accept the badge just because of their positions in society, because it'll ruin their job or whatever. And it's not like we haven't seen it, so I'm not going to pretend that it doesn't happen. There's people that have lost jobs because others have gone and ragged on them about being flat earthers. Whoop-de-friggin' do. It's a shit go, but yeah, there's quite a few of them that have said that because of their positions in society and that kind of thing, that they won't ever accept it. And it's like, that's crazy, man. Why don't you just take a step back, accept the truth, and you probably find more people will join you.
Yeah, it depends on your motivation. Like, a lot of people that come in here, they're not looking for the truth. They're like gamers and stuff, or politics debaters. And I'm thinking to myself, if I just stumbled upon Flat Earth, being a, ignorant politics fan, I don't think I'd be able to take it in a Discord. You'd have to come here purposely looking for that conversation, I think, Otherwise, they're just not ready, are they?
See, because my angle, I've come from a full-blown conspiratard. So someone dropped this on me. I just looked at it and went, yep, that makes fucking sense. Didn't take much to spin me. Yeah, it was like probably only about a week and a half of pacing up and down the corridor until it clicked in.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but it took me years, mate. It took me years. Some people are better than me. Fair play to them. Me 2-3 years. And then I sat on Discord and didn't say a word, mate. Didn't say a word. I just wanted to listen.
Well, that's like me. So my first channel that I dropped into was FED. So the smart player drops in there, 3 whole episodes. Didn't say a fucking word, just in case. And I'm glad I didn't, because they carry big sticks over there and they swing them hard.
Oh, yeah, mate. There would have been friendly fire if you'd have spoke up on your first visit, I reckon. I've seen that happen. That happened with Flatman. I don't know if you know Flatman. He went to first visit on Discord was Nathan's show, and then he, his confidence. If you know who he is, Brendan.
Yes.
He just got. Yeah, but he didn't know shit, and he got straight in there. Started with his overconfident self, and they destroyed him. I'm surprised he stayed around actually after that. He got dealt with, mate, and it wasn't nice. And actually, I thought it was outrageously rude, and why would you do that to someone who is genuinely a flat earther? But they're just ruthless, aren't they?
Well, that's like one day there, only a couple of weeks ago, I asked Nathan, do you know how like the sun and the moon produce an enelema when you photograph them over long periods of time? I asked him, do the stars also produce that? Because remember, it's because of the Earth's alleged tilt that we get this pattern. So therefore, anything that's not connected to the Earth should produce this pattern. And he said no, and then decided to grill me afterwards on why I would ask such a question. And it's like, dude, I'm a flat earther. I'm asking this because someone else asked me, and I thought, you know what? These guys have been into this stuff for a lot longer than me. I've never heard of it. I knew the sun does it.
An interesting question.
Does it, but I've never ever heard anyone say, "Oh, by the way, the stars also do it too." Therefore, this proves tilt. And I thought, you know what? That's whether he saw it as this bastard's trying to get me or what, I don't know. But I copped a bit of a grilling afterwards, and I'm just like, dude, sit down, man. I'm on your side. Like, take a chill pill, have a beer, have a cup of tea, whatever you do in your spare time. But you don't have to attack me. I just thought it was a
it's not
question.
Right. Yeah, it's not right. It's like you know, like if someone's been in the game for 10 years, you need to be a little bit more forgiving with people, I think. You know what I mean? Like, why can't that just be? Why can't we just be charitable, especially with
Well,
our own peoples? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know if you were there this afternoon, Matrix, but there was that other dude that came into 24/7 earlier that was a flat earther, but he's a 99%er.
Yes, I was there for that.
That's
What's
why,
the 99%?
Yes, yeah.
that he can't be 100% sure of anything, but he
Oh
copped
yeah.
it pretty hard, yeah, off all the flat earthers in the room. I think Alpha gave him a bit of a schlacken, and he just wanted to talk to a Glober, yeah. And in the end, I sort of thought, well, we've come to a bit of an agreement here, and Scott Mackey was the only Glober in the room, but that was why I sort of offered up Scott Mackey just to, he's a flat earther. We can see he's a flat earther. He's not 100%, but he's only been in the room 2 or 3 days. He needs a bit of a chance to sort of hear the arguments, see how things run. You'll learn a few things. But yeah, you don't want to just absolutely smash him and then chase him off. So I wanted to give him the chance to sort of do what he came to do and have a chat with a Glober. Unfortunately, it was only Scott, but yeah.
Like, I get that with the newbies. The problem is a lot of these older guys, and I get where they're coming from because I've heard all of them say nearly the same thing. A long time ago, if you mentioned FE, there was death threats and all sorts of stupid shit. And I get where these guys are coming from with that side of it. And they just see someone's attacked us, let's just hammer them, get it over and done with, and walk away. Whereas I think with some of these guys, a more softly approach does go a long way. Like that fella this afternoon, like I've got no problem with Alpha. His technique is great. And it's even more fun when he's got 2 or 3 of the idiots lined up and he's got the mute button there, unmutes one. Have you got an answer yet? No, bang. Unmute the second one. What do you think? No, bang. And he's just railing them. That shit is funny, man. I'm rolling on the floor laughing. But
Oh no, 100%. No. I'm not saying Alpha did anything wrong or anything like that. I just wanted at the end to, they'd come to the conclusion that, he couldn't disagree that things could be proven 100%. I still don't think he's 100% convinced, but like, he's a flat earther. He just needs to learn, and we want him back in the room. Yeah, let's let him have a chat with some people, and yeah, that was what I was thinking.
Hypothetical
Who talking?
genius.
All right. Okay. Oh.
I think he should be
Has
locked down
some-
to Sundays only. That would be more his style for some of
Yeah.
the topics that he brings up. But yeah, he's one of us. But probably we might want to just point him down to the bottom of the server and say, "Look, dude, go down there and have a read for a while, and then come back up when you need some oxygen."
Yeah, well, the other thing I wanted to do too was because he had admitted that now AI got him cornered. Yeah, AI, he had to admit that yes, there was things that could be proven 100%. So then I wanted to hear how he was going to have his discussion. Yeah, just to see how that went as well. That was the other reason why I sort of said, "Hey, why don't you have a talk to Scott?" Because straight away, the first thing he said is, "I don't like to say that things can be proven 100%, but I believe this." And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, cool, no worries. So, yeah, that was the other reason.
See, those 99%ers, it's not their fault. They've literally been brainwashed into thinking we can never be clear on anything. And I think it started when they started trying to say, "Oh, you can't prove things with science." Like, yeah, that's the groundwork they put in for the globe.
This is the new age
introducing
thinking.
relativity.
This is even going through the churches, yeah. All these new age churches, it's everywhere, and it's basically the fact that you can't empirically state something that's offensive because everyone can have their own truth.
I would firmly assert that it's been in the church the entire time for about 2,000 years now, especially considering the that globe, the Pope's ball, the Popey ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well,
It's become more prevalent, like it's a teaching now.
I should correct myself. It's not about 2000 because it didn't really start becoming popular until 400 AD, so it's less than 2000 years.
Yep. But I believe it's more prevalent. Like, it's actually being taught now in the schools. It's being taught. It's sort of, it's always occurred, but it's something that now is being taught.
It's being taught like a standard practice amongst everybody instead of allowing anyone to think outside of it. It's just, this is it, and if you question it, you're insane, which is military-grade gaslighting.
Yeah. Like, there is no proper debates anymore. You look at all these presidential debates, they're not what they used to be, because it's just a big show for everybody. It's a big heap of promises and a bit of bad mouth. There's no facts in it. There's no proper debating. And everyone gets too offended now because everyone can have their own truth. Everyone can believe what they want. There was even a thing here in Australia. They were talking about full stops being offensive to this generation because when you put a full stop, it's like you're making a statement. And they were talking about removing full stops from, I don't know, I read in the newspaper, man.
You're Gen X, aren't you, AJ?
I don't even know what it is, Gen X, whatever. I'm fucking 44 years old, man. That's whatever
Gen
that is.
X. Yep.
Kids just say old.
The ones that come after boomers.
Yeah. When my kids are a bit younger, they'd always come and say, "Hey, Dad, what was it like in the olden days?" Like, what do you mean the olden days?
Told my son once we didn't have Netflix and we only had 4 channels when I was a kid. When he asked me, "Oh, what did you do?" I said, "Oh, I used to just go outside all the time and play." And he'd be like, "Yeah, that was it." I says, "Yeah." He says, "Oh, that's really bad. I'm sorry."
That was it. You'd be too fucking scared to go inside in case your mum jammed a foot up your ass.
Yep. Not allowed inside, drinking out of the garden hose. Just come back when the street lights are on.
Where have you been? Over at a friend's house? And you've just been on your BMX. You've been halfway across fucking town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If your kids ever ask about the olden days anymore, what you want to do is show them a black and white photo and say, look, we didn't even have colour back then.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all too old now. think when we were growing up, when I was young, we only had 2 channels. We had ABC and was it 7?
Yeah,
Bloody hell.
ABC, and well, I grew up in Newcastle. I moved there when I was halfway through first class. And when we got to Newcastle, they had ABC, Channel 3, which is also Channel 9, Channel 7, and SBS. And I thought all my Christmases had come at once because they had heaps of channels.
Yeah, I think, when did they do that? Probably when I was about grade 3 or grade 4. I remember sitting up till maybe a bit older actually. Yeah, maybe grade 4. Sitting up till midnight because they were launching 2 new channels, UHF channels, and you had to have 2 dials on your TV.
To dial them in.
Yeah, you had to put it onto U, and then you had to spin this other dial with all these numbers on it to tune it into the extra 2 channels.
And that's every time you wanted to watch it. You had to spin those channels up.
Yeah. For the extra 2. Otherwise, you could just click to like 3 or 7 for ABC or whatever it was for those 2. And then, the other 2 you had to go to U and then turn this other knob. And you could get the other 2 channels.
ABC was 5A. And then when you went to 5A, there was a central knob inside the clicker, and you had to rotate that to tune it.
Yeah.
And that was on a Panasonic National TV.
You old gits.
And the only reason I know that is because when we hear people say that they've got a remote control for their TV, I was the remote control for the TV.
Yes. And then later on, I got a push-button TV in my room, and I used to lay in bed with the broomstick and hit the buttons I wanted.
I remember when Mum and Dad, after they had that little national TV, they got another TV, and I got the old TV in my bedroom, and it was like, oh, this is awesome. So when the movie Alien came out on TV, myself and Dad sat on the end of my bed and watched that friggin' movie. Fuck me dead, I didn't sleep for a week.
How old was you?
I was only about 11. Holy shit, eh?
Yeah. That's a scary one for that age. Mate, I had nightmares for a week. You're going to laugh at this. I had nightmares for a week because of Michael Jackson Thriller. I'd sleep in my mum and dad's bed, mate. That's a scary ass image burnt in my brain, when he turns around at the end and his eyes go funny and he goes, That burned in my brain for like years.
The other one that rattled me when I was younger, the movie, The Never Ending Story, the wolf, Nothing or whatever it was called, when he was in the cave, you see those eyes and then he jumps out. That rattled the shit out of me when I was a young fella.
Yeah, that's pretty scary when you're young, definitely. Mate, Pinocchio scared me when I was a kid, mate. When they went to Pleasure Island and they all turned into asses. That shit me up, mate.
Just hearing Pleasure Island scares me now.
I think I used to think that if you smoke cigarettes, you grow a tail for about 3 years.
And all the kids walking out of the movies, patting their noses, and haven't told a lie since.
See, these films, even though they shit us up, they still had good, morals behind them. So it was, at least it was the idea of all the kids going rogue, eventually they'll turn into asses. And that's still a good message. But if you watch the kids' shows now, they literally encourage bad behavior and just this sort of lack of morals. I've just noticed there is no guidance in the kids' programs anymore.
Yeah, not that I watch many kids shows, but I think the last lot of anything I had was forced to watch was something to do with the Wiggles, only because my nieces and nephews wanted to see it, not because I wanted to. But a top tip for all young players out there: if you have a young niece or a young nephew that wishes to go to a Wiggles concert because they are Emma Wiggle supporters or whatever other shit they like, go. You have no idea how many yummy mummies go to a Wiggles concert.
Yeah, I can imagine. I see it at soft play, mate. When I take the kids, I'm like, wow. So this is where they are.
Yeah, I had to go to one. I was dragged along there, and I'm like, this is gonna be shit. There's gonna be like 4,000 kids, and all these adults stand around looking friggin' stupid. But I get there, there was like 4 blokes and about 600 Sheilas and about bloody 1,000 kids all packed into the middle of this thing, and it was a great show. And I still don't even know what was on stage.
Hilarious. Right, I'm gonna have to go off. It's 1:30 for half an hour. I'll catch you guys in a bit. Have a good one.
See ya, mate.
Rich is gone. T-Dub's gone.
What do you mean T-Dub's gone?
Who else
T-Dub's
we got?
always about somewhere. Does he actually sleep?
Hey, man. I haven't been sleeping much lately.
I've been sleeping, but I've been waking up at like 3 in the morning and shit like that. Like, I'll go to bed at 11:30, wake up 3:15.
Yeah, I did a couple of weeks of all-nighters, about 4 weeks of all-nighters, and I tried to switch back and keep waking up now at like 4 in the morning.
I had a laugh on the weekend. I went to a where I used to live. The bloke next door was he's moving out, so where he's moving to, they've got excess furniture, so he had a garage sale. Anyways, his sister turns up, and the fella that I used to live next door to, I've been harassing him for a while. You've got to have a look at this FE stuff, mate. I'm telling you, this is the go. You've got to look into it. Nah, you're a nutcase. You're off your head. I don't want anything to do with it. Anyways, his sister rolls up, and he turns around and goes, "Why don't you tell her?" So I go, "Right." And she goes, "What do you mean, flat Earth?" And I said, "Look, this is how it works. Water at rest, or any fluid at rest, does what? Takes the shape of its container and has a flat, level top. 70 what? 1.4% or 71% of the water around your ball. Have a think about it." And she walks away, and she comes back about 5 minutes later and goes, "Hey, Darl," and she turns around and yells at her husband, "I think we live on a flat Earth." Just like that, within 30 seconds, it was just like she walks off and comes back, and it clicked like that. And she goes, "I need more information. I need more information." So you all know how much fun it is to try to use your phone using Discord. It's an absolute shitstorm. So I actually stood beside her and signed her in the other day. And I said, "Look, go to this place, scroll right down the bottom. There is heaps and heaps and heaps of reading material. So just go there, take your time, enjoy yourself." I just put her on a listening pass. But yeah, because she said, "Look, I'm not interested in talking to people. but I just want more information. Where can I go to look it up? And I said, anywhere but Google, and you'll be right. And sort of limits it for some people because they just don't get it. But yeah, so she's having a great old time scouring through hours of material.
Yeah, wow. That's cool.
But I just thought it was amazing how quickly she it clicked. Like, she didn't turn around and do what the usual ball-tards in here do. Gravity, refraction, and all this other shit. It was just water, flat. Oh, shit. And that was the sort of the speed that it happened. It was brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't really see that too often, that's for sure. Now I should be hassling him.
Already has been. And it was funny too because I was having a chat to her husband afterwards, and that's what he said. He goes, "You know something? I have always felt something is not right, and when I say something, I mean everything. What the government says, what science books have said, what history says, what everything. I don't believe that where we live is truthful. Something is not right." And I said, "Yep. Well, this will be a good stepping stone for you." So yeah, have a look into this. So yeah, so the pair of them, I don't think he'll sign on, but yeah, she'll go through and have a bit of a read.
Yeah, no, haven't had any of that. Everyone I've spoken to has fought with me about it. Not many would. Yeah. I even got a mate. I was talking to him about gas pressure. He works on like refrigeration trucks for Thermo King. And he's like, "Don't tell me about gas pressure. I'm a fucking, cold room mechanic or whatever they call himself." I said, "Oh yeah. So how do these refrigeration units hold gas?" And he's like, "Oh, in the container, I said, "Yeah, in the sealed pipes, yeah." And he's like, "Yeah, but you don't need gas pressure because there's valves that release it." And I'm like, "Yeah, but where's it releasing it to? Into another contained area, yeah?" And he still argues with me, tells me not to argue because he's the air conditioning guy or the bloody refrigeration guy who knows about gas pressure.
Actually, the angle you should have hit him with, second law of thermodynamics to do with entropy, because how
Yeah, I
does
did all that.
refrigeration work?
Yeah, I went through all that with him, and he still can't admit it. Don't tell him about it because he just learnt it all at TAFE. And I said to him, "What happens if you get a hole in one of your pipes?" And he's like, "The gas leaks out." I'm like, "Fuck, exactly, man, my point." He still doesn't get it. I think he gets it, he just doesn't want to admit it.
Yeah, I've been trying to convince me best mate into dropping in, but he won't do it. He just no. He's a peer reviewer, so everything has to be peer reviewed before he'll accept it. Very frustrating.
They should understand that peer review has nothing to do with repeating the experiment, just making sure that it matches the current narrative.
Yeah, but he doesn't see it like that. It's peer reviewed, therefore it's correct. He doesn't. I would never have enough hours in the rest of my life to explain that peer reviewing means someone should actually check it over, not just look at your paperwork and say, "Yep, that looks all right to me. Hand your money over."
Yep. I think I might go and find a movie.
Well, I was thinking of the same thing because I downloaded what's that TV show, The Boys. I've been watching that. That shit's funny as in a sick and
No, I
twisted
haven't
kind
seen
of
it.
way. Make sure you
Yeah, I
don't
haven't
have any
seen it.
young ones around. It's got some pretty rough language in it.
So the boys, yeah.
Yeah, The Boys. It's all about these highly commercialized superheroes and the crew of people that are trying to sort them out. Apparently, they're up to like
What?
season 4, but I've only seen. I'm just into season 3 now. So
Yeah, right. Every time I get into one of these seasons, man, I just stop. Yeah, it's terrible. I'll sit there all night. I'll sit there and just say, all right, we'll watch one more. My wife does it as well. And she'll be working. So watch one more episode and then we'll go to sleep. And she'll be like, yep, all right, one more. We get to the end. Oh, we'll just do one more. We end up watching a whole friggin' thing and like the whole lot of it in a couple of days. And we've been up like 24 hours a day.
yes, I get that. I did that with Breaking Bad. Bought the box set and sat and watched a lot of it.
Yeah, we do it with Breaking Bad. That other zombie one was that Walking Dead.
So I didn't get into Walking Dead. What was the other one? Game of Thrones. One of my mates gave me all the Game of Thrones stuff. I watched half of the very first episode and turned it off because it was that boring. Just bored me to tears. And I'm like, dude, I'd rather go and watch a grass grow than this shit.
Actually, you know which one was the latest one, which is really bad, I got to say. It was only a few months ago. My daughter wanted me to watch the Vampire Diaries with her, and I ended up getting sucked in.
See, I've never seen any of those. Before Breaking Bad, what was that other vampire show? True Blood. I watched True Blood. That was pretty cool. Um, and now this will show me age. Before that, X Files
Yeah, I used to
off
watch X Files.
off TV. Yeah, I love that show. Oh man, watched every single episode. Couldn't get, and I've watched most of them twice too. Yep, absolutely loved it. And yeah, that was the last sort of series that I got into. Mainly because I've always worked away. I've always been on the rail, or I've always been away, and I'll miss the first 2 or 3 episodes, and then when I get home, it's up to episode 5, and you sort of watch it, and you look at that going, I don't get what's going on. Oh well, back to drinking beer, do what I do best.
Yeah, yeah, I watched all the Sopranos as well. That's another old one.
Well, anyways, mate, I'm going to go and put my feet up and watch another episode because
Yeah,
they go for an hour. That'll keep me entertained for a while, and I might roll into bed after that. So take it easy,
no
yeah?
worries, man. Yeah, have a good one.
Alrighty, catch up.
Catch ya. See ya.
Turn your camera on.
What'd you say?
Turn your camera on, but wear a shirt.
I don't want to turn on my camera.
Oh.
It's quiet in here.
You want to go to Krill's chamber?
What is it?
Hold on. Turn on what? You want to go to Freedom?
Yeah, we can go.
What's up?
Hey.
Yeah, man.
Go on, get it out.
What do you get today, man?
Nothing new under the sun.
Can you tell me about like some new discoveries in flat Earth science?
Nothing new under the sun.
Is there any progress in you guys' field?
Yeah, the progress would be people accepting some sort of change, hope and change. But we are progressing reverse, like on the globe model, is always progressing ever closer to World War III. They got a doomsday clock. The particle physicists, whatever, made a doomsday clock. And we're the closest we've ever been to midnight, which is when a thermonuclear world-ending event exchange. So the something new would be a not that. It would be like, oh, okay. So yeah, maybe someday. Maybe start with yourself. Maybe start today would be the day you go into a Discord server without trying to invoke some sort of thermonuclear destruction of ideas you don't even understand to begin with. Let's see what happens.
Oh, sorry. By progress, I meant like progress as in discoveries in your field. You know, new observations.
Yeah,
new
same
theories.
answer.
What's the discovery?
Yeah, nothing new under the sun. A complete and full explanation for why nothing changes around here. The same triggered, freaked out that you came into this channel day one is the same freaked out and triggered you came in here day whatever this is, and will perpetuate.
You're projecting now, man. You're very calm.
Yeah, you joined this channel because you're triggered. And as soon as
I'm
you
triggered?
leave, you're triggered too, yeah.
I just asked you about discoveries in your field, man. That's all.
Same answer. Same answer as yesterday.
I didn't ask you yesterday.
And the day before.
I didn't ask you.
And the day before that.
Not even that day before that, bro. Grit. You're bricking now, man. I just asked if there are like new discoveries in your
same
field.
answer. Same answer.
I'm not getting it. I don't know what the answer
full
is.
and complete explanation for why there's a march towards the end to mutual extreme destruction. Full and complete.
That's like the object you want to understand with flat Earth, total destruction.
Environmental conditioning. Yeah. Why is there a doomsday clock that's mere moments away from life ending?
This has nothing to do with flat Earth, man. That's not what flat Earthers believe.
Environmental conditioning.
There is no such thing as a flat Earth belief that is fallacious in itself. The Earth is what it represents itself to be. It's very simple. It doesn't matter what you, Grim, think. It doesn't matter what Clay thinks. It doesn't matter what Crit thinks. It doesn't matter what anybody in here thinks about the Earth. The Earth has a specific way of representing itself, right? Visually.
But that's just your opinion, bro.
Measurably. No, it's not my opinion.
We have a way of representing.
So you don't have the opinion that that's the case?
Derived from a conscious being. The object itself is not a representation of anything. You're wrong. You don't have a representation of itself on its own in reality. You have to observe it for it to have a representation. Yes.
Philosophical
The Earth doesn't represent itself. It's inanimate and unconscious, dude.
No.
You said something delusional.
The Earth,
You just said many delusional things, sir.
Listen, no.
Yes.
No.
Delusional, hallucinatory and delusional things, sir.
No, delusional is if a human being goes against what their senses, their God-given senses, or wherever they come from.
I'm just saying the thing you just said that the Earth represents itself is somewhat moderately.
The Earth represents itself to be a topographical stationary plane to your senses.
That's your opinion.
That are given to you.
Doesn't.
If what is
it represents itself for shit.
What is crazy to do is then to say, actually, it's the complete opposite of what I observe. Actually, it is a spinning, wobbling tilted space ball.
Walking evidence of that shit.
okay, so this is quite interesting that on today, the 4th of July, they're going to see fireworks up in the sky that represents the two wars, 1812 and 1776, and the victory. And you're not going to be able to understand this. You are so outside of functional normal that there isn't any way to get inside your worldview and explain anything to you. Because you don't understand representation.
Great. What's a new discovery, man, in your field?
Nothing new under the sun.
Nothing new. Okay, so there are no discoveries. Right.
Yeah,
you
that's
guys are
the
doing
discovery.
nothing. This
Discovery
is a completely useless field. There is nothing happening.
Yeah, discovery is nothing new under the sun. A full explanation.
What the fuck does that even mean, man?
Grim,
You're not even trolling.
It might be Grim. It's very simple. It might
And
be
you
useless.
play-
Grim.
Yeah.
It might be useless to you since you're willfully going against your observable
Well, that's your opinion, man.
world. Yeah, you're going willfully against what is observable in the world you
But
live
that's
in.
your
So
opinion.
therefore, and no, it's not my opinion. It's obvious.
Oh, you don't believe that? It's not
Okay,
your opinion?
what do you observe? Do you observe a spinning ball
Wait.
or a one second? We make it very simple. What do you observe? Is the Earth spinning right now?
Well, that's your opinion, bro.
Is it moving? Is the Earth underneath your feet
You know,
moving? Is the Earth underneath your feet moving?
Underneath my feet,
Yeah. Are
to
you
a degree
spinning?
it is, yes. Yeah, it is. It is moving to a degree.
No.
Okay, see,
He
torture
just
is
lied to
intellectual.
you.
Sure,
He just
you know,
lied to
if
you
you
'cause
understand
he's
my
literally sitting
feet
on his
are...
computer talking to you.
Oh,
So
hold on,
Grim
man.
just lied to you.
Yeah.
So no, you just don't think you. First of all, you look like a
torture is
crack addict,
intellectually
man.
honest.
I'm
That's
sorry.
like the first
I'm
point.
sorry.
The
I
second
can't
point
defend
is
you on this
that
one, Grim.
if you
Yeah,
think of having like
torture-
atoms in your
Hold
feet
on.
and atoms in the...
Hey, Torture, we're live on YouTube. I'm not sure if you want to broadcast.
Well, I'm alright with that. It's just thank you for telling me. I gotta be more careful with what I say, but he left.
Grim is such a horrible man.
Yeah,
You look good, man. You look good. You look like a
just so
decent
you
human
know
being.
that we are. I mean, two things: that we're live on YouTube, and also once we get closer to 25 people, I'll ask you to turn your camera off.
Okay, got it. Thanks. Just remind me when. I'll do it in a minute.
Okay.
See, this is all you get with Grim. Either it's ad homs or just, trying to avoid someone to be finished with what they're saying. See, the problem is this. We have two opposing sides. We have one side that claims that everything is opposite to what their senses tell them, opposite to what they observe with their eyes, opposite to what they actually measure regarding Earth, opposite to what we see with water and so forth. This is the one side. The craziest thing about this, they are the ones who then blasphemously call us the crazy ones for just accepting what is given unto us, which is within my own radius as a human being, that I observe the Earth to be a topographical stationary plane, not a spinning, wobbling, tilted spaceboat flying from an ever-expanding void of darkness. That are fantasies that I would put in contradiction to what I observe. Therefore, I can't live as a walking, talking contradiction. This is not how I live. I live as a truthful human being who can look into the mirror and say, this is me, and when I look at the world, this is the world. I don't put an idea of fantasy upon a established observation. Very simple.
Yeah, Clay,
I don't put my trust in humans.
I've heard you talk about flat Earth a lot. Yeah, that as well. Yeah, I've observed that as well. I think you're one of the first few individuals that I've had give like a good, solid, foundational or founded argument for the flat Earth, or at least not talk about it in like a logical way, if not give an actual coherent argument. But yeah, everything you're saying is true. I agree with you. That's kind of the thing that people want to peg to the wall and kind of ignore when this kind of comes up. Because I'm kind of the last person to make fun of flat Earth, even though I think probably not true. It doesn't matter to me. I don't know or care what it is. I just look around me and I see a flat Earth, right? I don't see a curve. I don't see a sphere. I don't see, I don't see any birds.
So what's the big deal, right?
Up, right? You know what I mean?
But the point is, everything we see reflects what we say, and then the only time when it comes to invoking something else is when you trust into a government agency, for example. If you have belief and faith in the government agency, go on, man. I'm not even mad. If you want to believe NASA with its background and history, go on. I'm not mad about it, but don't call me a crazy person if I just accept what is given unto me. If it's God-given or if it's whatever you believe in, right? I believe it's God-given. This is a belief. There is something I invoke belief in. But whatever, I can affirm like everybody else because I can compare myself to another human being. We have the same senses. I can observe water the same way as Torture can. Therefore, why am I called the crazy person if I don't put my faith and trust in the government agency, for example, where a few select people who obviously I've listened to, I have not ignored these people, I've listened to the supposed people who claim, hey guys, I went into a realm that you haven't been to, it's called space. And I'm like, wow, okay, let's see, are you consistent with what you're saying? Then I listen to the astronauts. The one side says, oh yeah, we can totally see the stars. The other side is very inconsistent with what the one side says. So I'm like, okay, if there's just a few select people in space, why is it that there's so many anomalies of contradiction and inconsistencies with these humans? This makes no sense. If I ask a car mechanic how an engine works, another car mechanic in China will tell me the same way how an engine works. Maybe in different words, but at the end it will have the same outcome. But if there's a few select people who can't even get the story straight, why should I put my faith and trust in these people? I don't put my faith and trust in inconsistencies. I only accept what is consistent, and this is why I'm such a simple man. And I know sophisticated people in this day and age, full of television, full of all these media in their brain, obviously they can't accept such simplistic idea of viewing the world. But that's not my problem, that's not my fault, that is their problem. And if they want to live with that problem, go on, make your life harder than it needs to be.
Yeah, people don't really want to engage genuinely on a conversational level, do they? I noticed that over a period of time. You'd expect it to be the other way around. You really would. You expect them to try really hard, right? Make a claim for themselves when they talk about this stuff, but they don't. Especially atheists.
No,
I don't know why.
I mean, this is the point is why the point has we have gotten to is people are arguing against something that is very well established. I mean, we live in a society where people look in the mirror and they don't even know who they are in terms of biology, for example. So, see, this is where the core of the matter is. We live in a time of deception and confusion. People are inherently deceived because they can't even trust themselves. They look in the mirror and say, well, I don't really know who I am. And that's where the problem begins. How can a person like this then go out and understand what the reality is that they have been born into? If they have been already so confused to indoctrination that they come to a point where they don't even accept what they are. Can you imagine that? Being in such a denial about yourself. That is torture. These people are mentally tortured, and then society goes out and they even want to furthermore help these people by saying it's okay that way. You can be confused. No problem. Man, what a day and age. Imagine explaining this to someone from the 1800s. They would just look at you like, is this guy crazy? In the world, man.
I would say for the most part, yes, right?
Yeah, because back then people had morals, people had decency, people had self-respect. You can see it on the way how they actually treated each other and how they actually have worn the clothes, right? How they treated their own body, for example. But the confusion will even go higher. This is just the beginning. The beginning of the confusion. We go to an even greater extent than this. Unfortunately.
R. Bleib schön im Bett, trink Tee. Aber ich komme dich dann nicht besuchen, weil ich will nicht krank werden. Ich habe Urlaub ab jetzt und ich will wirklich nicht flach liegen. Komme ich nur das Auto tauschen, ob Papa zu Hause ist. Ja. Tut mir voll leid, dass du krank bist.
Ah! Wie Stein. Was mache ich hier für einen Scheiß? 100 knots. V1, rotate. Positive climb, gear up.
was a time women spent meditating and spiritual searching. The ancient Mayan calendar is slightly even more accurate than the Gregorian calendar we use today. They calculated the moon's orbit of the Earth incredibly precisely, 29.528395 days to our current 29.530588 day measurement. They could accurately predict solar and lunar eclipses and had amazing knowledge of astrology and the stars. Archaeologist Eric Thompson asks, what mental quirks led the Maya intelligentsia to chart the heavens, yet fail to grasp the principle of the wheel? To visualize eternity as no other semi-civilized people has ever done, yet ignore the short step from Corbould to True Arch. To count in millions, yet never learn to weigh a sack of corn.